Good evening. Welcome to your forecast discussion for January 15th, 2014. It's currently 3:53 p.m. We have temperatures throughout the region, basically in the lower to mid 40s over much of the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. A couple spots in the upper 40s to lower 50s around the Philadelphia metro, as we have had a very warm day throughout the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. This morning, though, we had some very dense fog, impressively dense fog, with unfortunately some slick spots that developed because of the fog interacting with the cold surface, especially over the interior, leading to some ice problems. We may have to deal with that once again tomorrow morning, as we'll have a little bit of fog out there, not as bad as what we saw this past morning. But temperatures are going to range from the lower to mid 30s along the coast for lows by tomorrow morning, and upper 20s to lower 30s over the interior, leading to the potential for some of that freezing fog. We'll also be dodging some rain and snow showers. Take a look at the latest radar. You can see we have a batch of showers and snow showers developing over central Pennsylvania. Now, this is associated with a cold front. This is a weakening cold front. It's not going to pack the real strong Arctic air that we will be seeing by the time we get to this weekend, but it's another step down process as we go from the 50s, mid 50s, in some cases almost 60 degrees, down to the 40s, and then by this weekend we're in the 30s and 20s. So the cold weather is on the way, but as I warned, we're going to step down slowly throughout this week with various disturbances moving through the region. So this batch of showers and snow showers will slowly but surely shift to the east and produce scattered rain and snow showers tomorrow throughout the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. Really not expecting much in the way of accumulation here as far as the snow. Elevations above 1,000 feet could see 1 to 2 inches of snow out of this disturbance, but this is not a major storm in any way, shape, or form. What it is an appetizer. It's a setting place. It's basically a way to get the pattern to get from point A to point B to point C and point D, which is basically a pattern that supports major winter storms. On the infrared satellite picture, you can see these waves of low pressure starting to interact and starting to gain some strength here, basically remaining over the coastal waters of the mid-Atlantic. And that's a key point here. The majority of the lifting and the precipitation with these low pressure systems and disturbances will remain over the coastal waters. That's why we're really not expecting much in the way of heavy precipitation at all with this disturbance. Temperatures tomorrow are going to rebound nicely into the lower to mid 40s throughout the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area, mid to upper 30s over the interior, as that colder air slowly bleeds into the region. And then here's our next disturbance for this weekend that'll also bring a threat for some rain and snow showers for the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. Primarily snow showers the second time around for this weekend, as the air mass as a whole will be a little bit colder. On the water vapor satellite picture, I just want to kind of show how the pattern is evolving as a whole here. You can see that trough being carved out very nicely. Our ridge building over the Pacific up to the Gulf of Alaska along the west coast here. Our subtropical jet stream starting to get a little bit more active, and our whole trough as a whole is starting to carve up very nicely. The only thing we need now is a polar vortex to drop south and some high latitude blocking to take hold. And that is exactly what we're starting to see in the latest model guidance. So let's take a look at that model guidance from the Penn State UAll website. We have the European model guidance from the Penn State UAll website. And I'm using the European model guidance as basically a form of consistency here. Let me be very blunt. The models are all over the place and they're completely lost because we're going through a major pattern change. One with just a ton of disturbances and a lot of different factors going into the pattern. Now, up to about, let's say about Saturday, Sunday, there's pretty strong agreement. Now, remember, before this point, we had a variety of solutions as far as the potential for snow with the disturbance for tomorrow and disturbance for this weekend. It was far more amplified than what we would see in reality. And I warned you that it wasn't going to be that bad as far as strong low pressure systems along the East Coast, let's say for tomorrow, because even though this trough is going negative, this disturbance is right on its heel and will kick it right out. So that's pretty much what we're going to see tomorrow. This disturbance will start to intensify, and area low pressure will organize over the mid-Atlantic coastal waters. We'll get some precipitation, some rain, some snow, changing over to all snow as those temperatures fall through the 40s and into the 30s tomorrow evening. But the key point here is that the brunt of the lifting and development with this storm will remain over the Atlantic. By the time we get to Thursday, we'll get a bit of a break here. Scattered cloud cover, could see a passing rain or snow shower. Temperatures, though, are going to be a little bit cooler, at least in the morning, with low temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s throughout the region, mid 20s over the interior. By Friday afternoon, we get a bit of a downsloping wind off the Appalachians, so look for temperatures to bump back up into the mid to upper 40s along the coast and mid 40s over the interior. Then, Friday night and into Saturday morning, we have another cold front move through. Now, this cold front will knock down temperatures once again. How cold? Well, not too bad, but pretty much near normal. Looking for low temperatures in the mid to upper 20s, high temperatures in the mid to upper 30s. Pretty seasonable for this time of year. Again, a few passing rain and snow showers, but nothing significant in nature. Most locations will have scattered cloud cover. But then, on Saturday night into Sunday morning, we have that disturbance that develops right off the coast. Again, same scenario here. It doesn't have time to develop because you have another disturbance right at its heels diving towards the northern plains. So this whole setup must get forced east. So as a result, you just get some scattered snow showers because the low pressure system doesn't have enough time to develop into a strong precipitation shield. This is basically the infant stage of this low pressure system. So as a result, on Saturday night into Sunday morning, looking just for some scattered snow showers, temperatures ranging from the lower to mid 20s for lows and mid to upper 30s for highs on Sunday. Now here's where the pattern gets a little more interesting because now we're starting to see the polar vortex drop south by the time we get to Monday morning. Temperatures on Monday morning will be significantly colder. We're looking at upper teens to lower 20s for lows. High temperatures on Monday aren't going to be much better, lower to mid 30s. High pressure will be in control, but again, I can't rule out a few passing snow showers here and there. And that's right, just snow showers, no threat for rain showers. Tuesday, we get a little bit colder. And notice we have a wave of low pressure starting to develop over the Ohio River Valley and a very strong disturbance here over the plains. Now, this time, we don't see any strong dynamic disturbance following up behind this disturbance here. So it's going to have a little bit better potential for development here. And we do have some high latitude blocking taking shape, a ridge building over Greenland. Clearly we have a nice ridge over the west coast with a ridge axis right around Montana. So everything's in place, including the cold air. Now, I'm sure everyone saw this. A very strong storm along the east coast. Yes, I know, it's very impressive. Let me give you some warnings here. This is what's called a Miller B storm. Basically what's happening is that, let's go back to Tuesday morning. This low pressure system jumps towards the coast and redevelops, and it shoots up towards the Gulf of Maine, which we see here by Wednesday morning. Now, what happens in between that is the main question with this storm. The latest model guidance produces a light to moderate snowfall over Philadelphia, moderate to heavy over New York City, and then it just bombs Boston with some significant snowfall over portions of much of New England. The key question here is how fast does a low pressure develop? Usually with these storms, you see a sharp cutoff between people who get a little bit of snow and people who get a lot of snow. And you can end up with a 6 to 10 inch snow gradient in a very short area, very small area, should I say, with this type of storm. So let's not jump the gun here. Let's not get overexcited. Yes, there is a potential for a significant storm. And look at that right after the 20th. As I've been warning, that's when the pattern will start to support these storm developments. So by the middle of next week, yes, we will be watching the potential for a strong winter storm to develop somewhere off the mid-Atlantic coast. The rate in which it intensifies and basically explodes over the coastal waters will determine who gets how much snow. As far as temperatures, no need to worry. Temperatures will be in the upper teens to lower 20s for lows, lower to mid 30s for highs, more than supportive enough for snowfall. So this will be a purely snow event wherever it actually develops. But when you look at the ensemble model guidance, it's kind of spread out all over the place. Same thing with the GFS and the Canadian model guidance. So I wouldn't get too excited about this threat just yet. It's definitely possible. Middle of next week, storm is definitely possible. But I'm warning you, where it develops is going to be key. And that right now is clearly very uncertain. What is certain is that as the storm lifts north, we are going to get very cold. Yes, that's right. The polar vortex is back and it's visiting your neighborhood once again. No, it's not the end of the world. It's called winter. And unfortunately, wintertime temperatures are going to be returning with temperatures struggling in the mid to upper 20s for highs by the time we get to Thursday and Friday. Well, at least we had a little bit of a warm break. That is your forecast discussion for this evening. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and LinkedIn. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there.